a great agenda with the 3 days here, and each one is touching on a different subject. Today, we've got a real treat for you. Obviously, it's not just the collector and hobbyist, but also the history, and I think nothing epitomizes the history of vintage automobiles and the racing that took place like the stories you'll hear today. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our moderator, Derek Hill, who has a fantastic program today talking about his dad, Phil Hill, and the book they have produced. Thanks very much for coming. Have a great day.
So we went to Doug Nye to talk about the book. Doug Nye and my father met at the symposium in Naples, Florida, run by Miles Collier. Doug is a very well-known motorsports book author, as many of you might know. He's done over 80 motorsports books, and it just seemed like he was the guy. Doug, of course, is in England. It would have been a little bit too far for him to travel to be here with us today, but we have some words from Doug.
And when it came to his photography, when I first saw his photographs, I was absolutely gobsmacked. I can't tell you. We were blown away by the quality of the window that he provided on racing through the 50s and into the 60s. We had the opportunity to produce the best world champion racing drivers book that there's ever been, or that indeed there's ever going to be, because car guys, real car guys, just don't become world champion driver these days.
Phil only had Kodachrome, ASA 25. That is so slow, I can't even set my modern digital cameras to go that slowly. So he had no light to work with for all intents and purposes. Manual focus, manual exposure. Only had one lens, didn't have any zoom lenses. So all this stuff was done with that baby right there. It just blows me away. I sometimes think that, you know, a photograph is a photograph, and no matter what the medium you use to shoot it, a good picture is a good picture. We have it so easy now. He didn't.
I spent a lot of time with Phil, and every moment was just great. You know, he was such a great gentleman. He was funny. His impressions of people were just amazing to write on. When Phil was running his shows with the Kodak carousels, he showed me the whole show one time, and I took a look at it, and I was breathless. It was so exciting to see all these images in color, because I'd been collecting photographs from the 50s for a long time, and I could count the number I had in color on one hand. And these were just gorgeous. And these were photographs from 1951 in Elkhart Lake, all the way to 1962 in the Targa Florio. And it was magnificent. And when I got done, Phil packed up his show and went off to like the Ferrari Club of Florida to give his talk. And driving home, I was thinking, God, you know, this is an archive. This is something really amazing. And Doug came up to him and he goes, Phil, we got to do a book. You know, we got to do a book. And once Alma found out about it, then she said, Phil, we have to do a book. And so then Phil went to Doug and said, okay, we have to do a book. And so he called me up and he said, listen, Doug Nye's going to do this book on my slides. And I said, oh my God, that's fantastic. And he goes, but the thing is, I'm not going to do it unless you do it with me. Because it's going to be a hell of a lot of work. And I said, I'm all in, I'm there. And I get to the second interview, and Phil's going, okay, oh yeah, this, and he's looking at this picture. He goes, this is the picture that I had a fire behind the instrument panel. And then I'm driving, like a fire starts, you know, and I had to drive in the pits and everything, and they couldn't find out what was wrong. I took the car back out, and the fire started again, you know. Pulls back into the pits. Turns out that it was a hole in the fuel pressure gauge. And he turns to me, he goes, what lap was that? I go, Phil, what lap was it that you had the fire, you had to pull into the pits? He goes, yeah, what lap was it? He goes, Steve, you got to remember here that this has to be really accurate. This is really important that it's accurate, because once it gets written down, it's there. And he says, and we're going to do our darndest just to make sure that it is correct.
My father would never start the races at Le Mans because his nerves were so jumpy. It always seemed better as a team. Let the other guy start the race. So he had time to walk over to the other side of the track and capture this absolutely stunning photograph. To think they're coming down the straightaway, not even having protection between where the cars were pitted for the pit lane. That was Le Mans back in the day. And of course, you say, well, if Phil took these pictures, why is he in it? But oftentimes, he had his friend Denise McCluggage would be nearby. Someone would be nearby, and he was very meticulous about instructing them, what to set the camera settings at and here and take the focus. Often they didn't get right, and they didn't hear the end of it for the rest of their lives. But he would come back home with a roll of film and was able to share the memories with everyone.
So there you go. Inside Track is what it is. It's the best that we could make it, and it's the best that we could make in the memory of a very, very great man.